Well, it's raining again. Hopefully not too much. Hopefully not right now, as I am walking through a gully that tends to fill up with water. I just came through here dropping off that pig you guys saw in the previous video. Gave it back to the neighbor, made a deal. And I figured we'll walk and talk about, well, what else? Food. I don't know, man. I've been thinking about the whole diet wars on YouTube, something I participated in for a little bit, but never too seriously, really. Never was I the type of guy to say that this is the way to eat and, everybody should do so and so. One thing I did state many times, and I stand by that to this day, is that veganism is wrong, right? For all the reasons I already explained, which I won't be getting into right now, but suffice it to say, if only because it tries to impose, as all ideologies do, right, normative behavior. Fuck all that. You wanna eat grass? Have at it. Couldn't give two shits. But just, the carnivores, or whomever they may be, right? I'm not gonna go and say that they're just like the vegans, because obviously I smell a skunk. That's not correct, but some of them, man. Oh, almost wiped out. Some of them, yeah, kinda. So like the other day, I had someone comment on my video that essentially implying that I'm a degenerate because I drink coffee. I mean, this is what the world has come to, right? A person, and presumably it's because coffee is toxic sludge and all this other stuff. I mean, okay, I guess so. I guess I'm a degenerate, which I don't deny. I mean, I think all of us are, at least to some degree, and it takes realizing that and recognizing that in order to be able to right the ship, right? Make a change. But this whole idea that just because you consume something just because something is toxic, that doesn't mean that it's bad for you, right? Maybe some of the benefits outweigh the toxicity, and ultimately the whole world is toxic, right? Especially the people calling you a degenerate because you drink coffee. I mean, talk about toxicity, right? But that person, I don't know anything about them, never seen them before, probably never will again. Already forgot their name, but chances are they live in a big city, drive a car every day, right? Talk about toxic. I mean, are there many more things more toxic than your vehicle, right? Emitting toxic rubber dust that you're inhaling driving on a highway amongst all these other cars, right? Exhaust, so on and so forth. I mean, it's like, well, I guess you're a degenerate too, because you choose to live in a toxic environment which you yourself help to create, right? Whoop-de-fucking-do. Big deal. But, I'm walking through at least somewhat toxic field right now, right? at maybe not recently, judging by all the weeds among these this corn, like this had some glyphosate applied to it at some point, right? And it's probably still in there, so yeah, toxic. But yeah, this diet, eating, like that shit's not, it shouldn't be that difficult. I get that it is, right? But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be that difficult. Just eat what your grandpa ate. And, you know, if grandpa didn't eat very well for whatever reason, poverty, or he was just an idiot or whatever, well, maybe great grandpa, right? Just go. It's come on, man. What are we supposed to live forever or something, right? I think it's safe to say that most people ate well enough. People of some kind of means, right? We're not talking about people stricken with poverty, but most people ate well enough, even 50, 60, fine, 100 years ago. And we know what they ate. Do that. People have made this whole thing out of diet. Like, I understand engaging in it for a while, especially as, you know, someone who's done wrong, like a vegan who's now an an ex-vegan. I could understand them wanting to, in some way, shape, or form, atone for their sins, if you want to put this in religious terms, or just warn other people not to make the mistakes they made. I could understand people wanting to fight veganism and the evil that it is. I get that. But it gets to a point where, like, what else is there to say about that, right? I don't know. I guess you have to counter the message constantly. And I appreciate that, you know, like channels like Vegan Deterioration. Entertaining and you know, she's sharing her experience and bashing the vegans. Like, what's not to like, right? But at the same time, diet has become so important and such. Well, let me just cut to the fucking chase. Diet is, for a lot of people, has replaced God, right? This, not just diet, but the whole health and fitness industry in general, right? This desire to just be perfect, right? To be holy, to be God, essentially, right? A lot of these people who post pictures of themselves half naked, you know, on the gram and other places. It's a little sick, man. The whole thing's a little messed up. Like, aren't there, forget about more important, but like more interesting things to do with your life? Because there are definitely way more important things than engaging in this nonsense, right? But I get it, because, you know, for a lot of people, that's how they make a living, right? And maybe they don't know anything else or much else that they could be doing, or they just don't want to because it just pays better. I don't know. But these days, when I see, like, it'll pop up in recommended. I don't subscribe to these channels anymore, really. But when I see these, like, what I eat in a day videos from some of these, it boggles the mind, you know what I mean? Like, who watches this shit? And I can understand, you know, lurking here and there, checking stuff out here and there. But these things get tens, hundreds of thousands, sometimes 1 million views. And most of the time, these people are eating trash. It's sad, man. But it's part of this ongoing confusion, right? You're supposed to be confused. You're supposed to be so confused, you're not even supposed to know what you should eat, right? And maybe that's not even the right way of putting it. We shouldn't. Eat what you want, right? Ultimately, just eat what you want. But figuring out what the right foods are to eat, it's just like, the right foods for what? To look like that guy or girl over there that has, different genetics than you and probably works their ass off in the gym? Well, you think a diet is all that important to all of that? I don't think so. It does make a difference, but I mean, I've known cigarette smokers who, and I'm not saying that this is who these influencers are, but it's just, an extreme example. I've known cigarette smokers who ate trash all day and looked like Greek gods, you know what I mean? Because they also had a construction job or whatever. So, I don't know, man. I look at some of these channels that are just like diet channels or fitness channels, and no joke, like, I want to throw up, and sometimes I want to cry, right? Obviously, I don't, because men don't cry, obviously. But, it's just so pathetic, like, people. And not to say that talking is the solution necessarily, but like, if everybody, not even everybody, but let's just take all these fitness and diet influencers. If every fifth video they made, they would talk about, tyranny and how to fight it, probably wouldn't even exist anymore, this tyranny, right? But no, you have to be a good slave. You have to be, let me take that back, a good socially engineered slave who plays this stupid fucking game. It's just another one of these distractions, man. It's like these issues back in the 90s, right? Whether it was abortion or whatever it may have been, right? It's just the same bunch of fucking irrelevant nonsense and people bickering about dumb shit that could be solved in 5 minutes, right? Eat like your grandpa did and get to work, right? Do some physical labor. You're gonna save hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, on gym memberships and supplements and all this other bullshit. I just can't imagine spending I get it, some people really enjoy cooking or they do it for a living, it's their passion, I get it. But to presume that the average person should, or maybe should isn't the right word again, but like would want to do that, that it's so important to the average person to be spending so much time prepping and cooking and shopping and slicing and dicing. Man, for me, a meal is just like open the fridge, grab a couple of things, heat them up to a certain temperature, enjoy. It's just like, wow. Spices, I mean, salt, maybe some pepper here and there. Once in a while, I like a little bit of hot sauce or hot pepper or something like that. You know what I mean? I feel fine. I feel good. So, I don't know, man. No offense, but people are just fucking pathetic, man. Like, I get it. Yeah, I engaged in it very little, but at some point, you just gotta you gotta elevate. You gotta do something else, maybe. I don't know. I feel like we're just getting like food and fitness and just being that sort of person online has just become an identity for so many people. And anytime you make anything that isn't us our identity, right? We assume that as our identity. Anytime that anybody is a little bit different or has a different identity in that same sphere, right? Look, just take a cliche example, vegan, carnivore, right? It becomes like an existential threat all of a sudden. And don't get me wrong, because that which veganism represents, right, the forces behind veganism, yeah, it is an existential threat. Don't get me wrong. But I mean, I think the reaction to veganism, you could make an argument, has also become an existential threat, I guess, because it takes us away from existing as that which we are. It takes us somewhere else. It makes something that's just we shouldn't, necessarily think about so much. It shouldn't be such a huge part of our existence and identity. It takes something so literally mundane as eating, right? And it elevates it to the level of a deity, I guess. It's fucked up, man. This shit's fucked up. That being said, food production, food sovereignty, all these things are important, but who in this sphere, right, of diet, fitness, or just shoving shit in your mouth, chewing and swallowing and pooping, right, and in that whole sphere, who in that sphere actually recognizes how their existence is truly being threatened, right? This existence that they've assumed as, fitness, diet, food, whatever the fuck have you, influencer, and just their existence, period, as a carbon-based life form on this planet, is being threatened by, well, those who are slowly but surely taking over our food supply. So you could sit there and dictate, suggest what people should eat, but ultimately, somebody else is going to determine that for you, and you won't be happy that they are doing it, because it's not going to be the kind of program, not likely to be the kind of food program that you're pushing. Ultimately, somebody else is going to decide that for you, because you're too fucking preoccupied with recipes and counting calories and all this other bullshit, when maybe you should, and I have no problem using the word should here, should be more interested in actually procuring, growing, creating, taking charge of the food supply yourself. And it could be, I'm not sure, it could be that this natural desire, right, that which we are, us producing, creating, growing, procuring food, right, whether you want to think of yourself as a hunter-gatherer or pastoralist or a farmer, agriculturalist, is that a word? Ultimately, I think that instinct still exists in all of us, the instinct to procure and produce food, and it's been channeled into this, diet and fitness nonsense that has just become a big fucking narcissistic ego trip and the new god.